Hello awesome people, what is going on? It is BradPhusion here and welcome back to another Phusion Industries video. Now I know I haven't done a Phusion Industries video in quite some time, so I want to quickly apologize for that. I just wanted to quickly say that I had been working on a few projects that I haven't really been able to reveal just yet, but I will be revealing in the next few weeks or so. That being said, a lot of the ships I have been working on, I haven't really felt them worthy enough of doing a video on, so I've kind of just scrapped the ideas of them and moved on to something a little different, until this ship here, which is the Vanguard, or at least what I'd been nicknaming the Vanguard. It wasn't really its official name, but I've kind of been using that since I've been building it, and I think it's rather stuck with me, so I will be calling it the Vanguard throughout this video. That being said though, its name isn't exactly finalized, though I do think I'll probably be keeping it nonetheless. So, the other week I showed you guys a ship called the Alistair MK3, which was a police force type vessel mostly used for pursuit or dog fighting scenarios, which I thought was rather well. It had high acceleration, it was rather good at what it did, but it wasn't that good at transporting troops. So this is where the Vanguard comes in as being its bigger brother of sorts in the police force. So let's show off the Vanguard Dropship, shall we? Dun da da da! So this is the Vanguard Dropship. You might notice a few similarities to a few other ships that have been existent in history, but I'll get to that in a second. So let's go over the weapons first, and then I'll be showing you guys obviously a demonstration of them in just a bit, but I'm just going to talk about them for a second here already. So you have the large turret on the top there. That is a turret that you mostly use against other vehicles, though it can be used against infantry if so desired. You have the turret down below here, which is great against infantry, though it can again be used as a dogfight scenario. You have these two large cannons on the side here, which are high explosive cannons, which are quite great at going up against other ships, so they are rather slow firing. Then you have the auto cannons here, which are the opposite. Decent fire rate, though they aren't really great at damage, dealing high damage at least to armor, though it can destroy components in a short amount of time. That being said, that is the majority of the weapons that this ship has. Let's move on to its external aesthetics, and then we'll go on to the interior. So you may notice that it has a large glass cockpit surrounding the pilot seat. Now, you might be wondering, it might not have too much protection for the pilot, but it does have high visibility, and in a dropship type scenario when you want to drop troops in, you kind of want this visibility as you can kind of get your surroundings, get to know your surroundings a little bit better. This is obviously built for first person playing instead of third person, which you can kind of see all around you anyways. But I have given them high visibility, so which you guys will see in a second anyways, with a little bit of protection on the front side here from direct frontal fire. That being said though, glass does take a few shots before being destroyed, so it does give you a decent amount of protection if you are on the move anyways. Moving on to the frontal thrusters here, which there are quite a few of them for. Obviously, being a dropship, you kind of want a dropship to get in and out rather quickly, so I have got these thrusters on the front here, so that when you get in, you can instantly, or not instantly, but you can kind of rapidly decelerate to deploy the troops and then get out of there again at higher speeds. Though admittedly its acceleration isn't necessarily that fast, its deceleration is rather decent instead. Moving on to the backside here. So originally I was going to design this to look much like the Alistair, to have one large thruster on either side on the front here, and to have two ones kind of on the top and bottom. Now, this didn't really work out too well, as I didn't really have much room to deploy the troops. I did originally have a piston ramp that deployed downwards so that they can get out of, but it just looked a little fussy, so I kind of got rid of the bottom thrusters here and just left the top ones that you see on the back here. Now, after I finished building this, I kind of looked back at it and showed a few of my friends, and they kind of said that it reminds them of a Pelican, and admittedly, it kind of reminds me of one as well, and that I've actually looked at pictures of one. So, that being said and done though, I will admit that it probably was subconsciously influenced by a Pelican, though that wasn't my original design, though it kind of turned out rather well anyways. And again, with a decent amount of thrusters here, you can actually see that there is a camera on the backside here for in case of a reversing situation, and then you have a camera on the inside here that is used to look down at the ramp, so you can kind of line yourself up with the platform so you know how close you are to the ground, and so on and so forth. That being said, let me quickly talk to you guys about the ramp itself and the fact that there isn't anything here that uses maybe a piston or a rotor. I've decided to not use this for this design because of a few reasons mainly. As we know with Space Engineers, it doesn't really handle pistons and rotors too well on small ships. They either have a tendency to explode or simply just make flying rather impossible, as it would kind of just take control of your ship and make your ship fly in all different directions. I didn't really want that many flaws on this ship, so I've removed that completely. I originally did have one, as I was saying before. I did have a piston on it, but it made flying rather awkward, so I just kind of removed it and scrapped the idea completely, and just went with a simple scenario like this, where it was kind of already open. Admittedly, it does leave the pilot a little bit more exposed, but not something that I would consider too bad of a scenario. Anyways, moving on to the interior here, you have 8 seats on the backside for simply transportation purposes, and you guys can see the perspective that you get from sitting in here like so. That being said, you have the reactors behind here, as well as the gyroscopes on the ground here. This does have adequate power to handle all of its needs. And then at the front side here, you have the 2 gunner seats. This one here is for the top side turret, and this one here is for the bottom side turret. And then you have the pilot seat on the front here, which visibility, again, looks something like this, which I think is rather nice. Basically, you can see as far as your head can turn, which I think is a really nice thing, and you can actually see the ground down below there because I've actually added glass down that far. I didn't originally have glass down there, but I thought I'd like to see the ground, much like when flying helicopters and such. I'd like to be able to see below me, and it's always annoying me that when I play, let's say, like or whenever I fly a plane or a jet or something, you can't look down. That's really something that I find weird. So I've kind of added this little additional windows down the bottom there so you can see the ground a little bit more easily. Anyways, let's take this thing out of there and let's go to the drop location that I've prepared mainly for just the weapons fire test and just to show you guys it landing and whatnot. So let us undock the landing gear here, which I kind of like this landing gear mod. Obviously, again, all the mods will be linked in the description, so you guys can download them yourself, as well as the vehicle, obviously, if that's your desire and such. But there we go, that's us leaving, and here we have us in the first-person perspective, and that is how things actually fly. It looks rather nice to be able to fly this thing, honestly. I kind of like how it feels to fly. It's a little heavy, it's a little slow, but it's nothing too bad or nothing too terrible. So what I'll show you guys real quick is actually it's slowing down rate. So here we are already at about 40 meters a second, and let's slow down, and within a matter of a few seconds we are stopped, which I think is rather great. So what I'll show you guys real quick here is the actual weapons fire on the bottom side. So if we get out of the seat here and get inside this one will allow me to control the bottom turret. Now I just want to quickly point out that the bottom turret can be automated as well, so you don't necessarily need a gunner down here. So you can probably fly this thing with just 2 people minimum, as you might not, well, I mean, you probably don't need someone to control the top turret, but it is nice to have someone sitting on there anyway. So a minimum crew of 1 or 2 with a maximum crew of, how many would you have? You'd have 8 on the back, 10, and then 1. So yeah, so you can have up to 11 people in the ship, which is rather nice. So let's take out a few of these people that you see down below here. And actually what I'll do before shooting is I'll get the free cam to come over, and I'll just show you guys when we're actually targeted on one of these units. So here we go, shooting at its, what am I shooting at? I'm shooting at its chest. And there we go. 1 block destroyed instantaneously. Let's aim at something a little bit more difficult. Let's aim at its bottom here. So we'll just go there. Oh, sorry, I missed completely. Let's aim again, and wait, and just 3 blocks destroyed. So this is rather powerful. Again, I mean, this is made out of light armor. I kind of just did these guys as a joke, but I thought they were kind of good for target practice of sorts anyways, so you guys could see just how much damage would actually be dealt using this gun. So again, this is light armor, so you can see what this would do against a small ship if this was to be used against a small ship. I'm not entirely too sure how much damage it does against a space engineer or an astronaut. But that being said, let's move over to the other turret so you guys can see that a little bit better. Now again, this can be automated as it is a little bit slow admittedly, but nonetheless, let's move on to, let's actually rotate us around a little bit here so we can actually use the other turret just a little bit easier. So here we go, we'll go over here, and then what we'll do is we'll get inside this seat and turn this one on. Now this one isn't automated, though this one is a lot faster. It's a lot faster for if you get into a dogfight situation, or if someone is tailing you, you can quite easily take them out like such. Anyways, let me shoot out these units again over here. Let me line myself up quite quickly here before firing again, so you guys can see how much this actually does do. And firing in 3, 2, 1. I missed, of course I do. Let's try that again, shall we? Let's line ourselves up just a little bit better. Or I could just continually miss again whilst firing. There we go. And it does almost maybe about the same damage as the smaller turret, though the smaller turret is slower firing. That being said though, that's it for the turreted weapons. Now let me move on to the other weapons itself. Now that happens when the vehicle is on its side and you try to get out of it. I don't know why that happens, it just happens. moving on anyways, let's go inside the pilot seat again here, and what we'll do is we'll quickly land on the drop location, and we'll fire at the wall that you see in front of it. Now the wall was put here intentionally for the frontal weapon, so I can show you guys the amount of damage that they do against heavy armor and lighter armor, just for those who, I guess, were curious as to the weapon's effectiveness. So then let's go down here, and we'll land real quick. And we'll just quickly fire these at this wall that you see over here. So let me make sure that these are lined up right, or at least in a way where I could be shooting at both of them. And let's just move over just a little bit here. And what we'll do is we'll fire the autocannon first, actually. So we'll go a little bit lower here, and we'll fire the autocannon so you guys can see how much damage this actually does against, again, light armor and heavy armor. So this is the rapid firing, kind of low damage dealing weapon here. So let's fire again, and we'll go on the inside here so you guys can see how much damage this actually does. So there we go, and on the inside, you guys can see, broken through the first layer of light, the second layer, and then the third layer. So there we go, and in that time, it only kind of really dented the heavy armor, though given the time, it probably will break through it eventually. That being said, let us move on to the bigger cannons that you see right here. So these ones are the, again, these ones are the high explosive ones. So let's move up to the top side actually, so we can make this a little bit better and easier on ourselves. So these ones, again, high explosive, but a lot slower at firing. So this is more so if you were to shoot at something at a longer distance, making, you know, disabling a target that may be escaping you or such. Just some scenario like that. So let's go move our camera over here and let us fire this once more. And through the light armor side of things, 2 layers destroyed in one shot, and one more shot goes through the light armor. That being said, the heavy armor takes 2 shots to go through 1 layer, and yeah, I think it's 2 shots to go through 1 layer. So in the second shot here, we should make it to green. There you go. So yeah, 2 shots through heavy armor. Now, no, this is damage done against heavy ships. So not heavy ships. This is damage done against large ships, heavy armor and light armor. Obviously, it's going to be a lot different going up against a small ship, heavy armor and light armor. But that being said, though, I do love these weapons as they deal, again, quite an amazing amount of damage for what they are, basically. So again, there you go. Top taken off. Yeah, there we go. Taken off the top. So yeah, so that is the Vanguard Dropship. Great at deploying units, obviously, in a scenario where you'd actually need it to be deployed. Let me just quickly land this thing, anyways, just so you guys get a feel for it landing, because it does look rather nice, and I do like the landing gear that it has on the base there. They look rather nice and everything. So landed like such, and the patrols can just kind of get out like such. Let me just quickly do that now, and jet back off, and yeah, get out, and they can get out from all, you know, either and all sides over here again, as they would necessarily need to. So let's just do this again with a weapon in our hands, just to give you guys a little bit more of a roleplay scenario, I guess. So let us get back inside the dropship here. So we're sitting in the seat, we happen to land, and then once we've landed, we get out of the seat, and we start firing at any units that we happen to see and such. So that's it for the Vanguard. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments down below. That said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Stay awesome, everyone.